How's it going, Broncos? I'm Ryan Hunter.
And I'm Chase Raff, and this is CTV News, home of the latest sports and news happening at Hastings College.
That's right, Chase. But for this week, however, many sports and events at HC were postponed due to the school going into level pink due to rising COVID quarantines. On Wednesday, September 28th, Hastings College moved from level orange to level pink in accordance with growing on-campus students being isolated due to potential COVID cases. All classes were delivered remotely online through Canvas, and all athletic practices and events were canceled for the rest of the week. As of this newscast, the school is back to level orange with athletics and in-person classes starting again. The level change began a few days after the homecoming weekend, where events such as the homecoming parade and homecoming dinner were hosted. You can see on your screen the active cases and those that are being isolated as of October 6th. HC will continue to update students every week through school email.
Change seems to be the theme of the school year so far, and the theater department is no exception. This department has made the decision to move online to follow COVID-19 guidelines for our monthly live stream variety show. Theater adjunct Professor Sam Cordes has helped to plan a live show with 30 students and has given them creative control over the production. The show will include both live and pre-recorded productions, including short films, live skits, and much more. Cordes said he is excited about the new learning opportunities it will offer students regarding technological advances in theater. The first live show will be hosted on the HC Facebook page on October 18th at 7 p.m.
We have an exclusive interview with HC's new executive president, Rich Lloyd, as he discusses returning back to Hastings College after so many years and the new challenges he and the school are facing in the midst of a pandemic. Collegian's editor-in-chief, Jordan Ismail, has the interview.
For one, it's really fun to be back and really exciting to be back and to be on campus and to meet with everyone and reconnect with colleagues I know, and also get to meet students and colleagues and faculty that I don't know. So it's just fun to be back. Part of the reason that I'm here, the relationship with Bryan College of Health Sciences, and our hope in that relationship is that we will be able to bring Bryan College side. Bryan College of Health Sciences will open up a branch campus in Hastings and do so in partnership with Hastings College and with Mary Lanning Healthcare. And what that would enable and allow is for students to pursue and proceed in healthcare fields while participating and taking courses at Hastings College. So the goal is not to have a 50% president at two schools. The goal is to have a full-time president for both institutions, because we're also doing collaborative work that's meaningful for the future of both institutions. We didn't know that the president was going to resign, wasn't looking, but it made sense then when all of a sudden the various parts came together that there was an opportunity for Bryan to actually have a home out here as well. And think that will open additional doors for interested students to Hastings, but certainly also meet workforce needs of South Central Nebraska and beyond when they graduate. We are looking at additional partnerships that way. We have a good relationship with Central Community College and with other community colleges in terms of program sharing and or transfer models. We're also looking at just current sort of enrollment numbers. How did 2.0 launch? How is it going? What's going well? Are there things we can accelerate? And on the enrollment side, it's really looking at, as we look at fall enrollment and where we desire to be, and that then makes, the campus hum. It hits the sweet spot. It makes the budget work. Hastings College is not on its own in terms of having to do reprioritization and budget cuts. This is happening across the country at many, many institutions, and it's not just privates. We're seeing it in the state system. We're seeing it in the university. So a number of institutions are having to figure out what's the business plan going forward. And that's not just in curriculum, so I'm working for two colleges now, right? It's also in it's trying to be creative when right now what you really want to do is still provide an incredible, meaningful education for students. And then a lot of it is also just culture work. It's really about who are we as an HC. I've been using the phrase one campus, one community, and I sort of like the resonance of that phrase. So, sort of come here, go anywhere in terms of what we establish for students and their outcomes, but also we're one campus and one community. What I put together were just what I called running thoughts. They're not decisions, but they're just where I've had a chance to ask those direct questions. So, and I literally ask it this way. So you've been with students, tell me what you really liked about it. What worked really well? What could we do more of or expand? And then, where was the stuckness? How did you get stuck? Or where did the college feel like it got stuck on delivering what we were doing? And how can we help there? And then really asking the faculty and the administration the same questions, because it really affects everything. And that's all they are. They're not decisions. They're not that I'm saying change this or do that. They're just observations that interpretations that I want us to talk about. So on that list, again, doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's just, let's talk about these things. Is that some courses do really well in 7 weeks. And when I was a student here in the 80s, we actually were under a block schedule. So it's not new, it's a different kind of block schedule, but I started at Hastings under a block schedule in the early 80s, and then I transitioned to an hour semester schedule, a different schedule during my time here, very much like you would have just transitioned from 1.0, if it was called that, to 2.0. And so asking, are there any places in which the 7 weeks for student learning, is there a course or two, what would need to be 14 or 15 weeks if we really looked at the data and the evidence? And you look at success by, did course failures go down? Did academic, probation numbers go down? How did students progress, right? So you actually look at the data of the outcomes, not just one's personal feelings about it, but did students actually perform well in the new model? These are coming from faculty, they're coming from students. And so I just put them all on a list and said, if they're already on your list, Ben, and the committee, great. If not, let's add them and then let me come in the room and listen. And then obviously ask students, right? And I've asked, some students have said it's been great. That's the reason they came. They really enjoyed the shift. They like the 2 classes at a time. It really lets them focus. Some students have said it's just a lot, right? So I'm doing it. I like it, but it's a lot. I'm operating 2 institutions with 2 plans, right? Both Bryan and Hastings have COVID plans. They are different institutions. Bryan and Lincoln doesn't have dorms, so it doesn't have residency, doesn't have a common dining hall. So it's a different, the plans are very similar, but also they're different environments from which to implement a plan. And really think Hastings College has done a fantastic job at really implementing a plan when what we know is we're really dealing with fluidity on a daily basis, right? So it's really the monitoring, the availability of testing once really having everybody practice safety habits and reinforcing that and having everybody reinforce it for each other. And if you see something, you got to say something, right? If someone's not practicing a safety habit, we all are required to point it out in a very positive way because we want to be here and have a successful semester. It may be you get to a point where you have to pivot to a week away for everyone or a week of isolation for everybody, but it may not be the entire semester, right? So each of those sort of dials, internal pivot points have to be monitored and reviewed. And I think Hastings College has done a really good job when you look at the rates compared to other institutions. We wish to be here. We wish to have a really successful semester. And what we also want to do is if we're able to practice those safety habits, mask wearing, washing hands, and distancing, if we're able to do that and actually have everybody participate, then we have a pretty good environment in which we're supportive of each other and we have less control when it's just out in the community. So I've been really impressed with our students, absolutely, who are doing the right things because they want to have a good semester as well.
You can also read President Lloyd's recent editorial on the Collegian newspaper, either at hccollegian.com or through your iPads using the self-service app. You can also read that along with many more news stories published every Friday. CTV will also be available at the hccollegian.com or through YouTube under Collegian HC every other Tuesday.
And that's all we have for you today, and thank you for tuning in. We hope to have more stories and sports once again, October 20th. You stay classy, Hastings College.